Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Ram 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 Hare
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्त वृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण devotees. So today is Tuesday. It is 2nd of July. It is Ashada Masa or Vamana Masa, Krishna Paksham, and the Ekadasi today. So today is Yogini Ekadasi, fasting from grains, beans, cereals, and all kinds of grains. And any the fruits which has got full of nut, full of seeds, we need to avoid those fruits as well. Need to take in case you need to eat only the pulp kind of thing. Okay, so that is from the events. So we shall read few lines from the Yogini Ekadasi. Yogini Ekadasi from this from com. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, so he said, O Supreme Lord, I have heard the glories of the Nirjala Ekadasi, which occurs during the light fortnight of the month of Jesta. So now I wish to hear from you about the Shuddha Ekadasi that occurs during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashada. Kindly describe to me all about it in detail. O killer of the Madhu demon, O Madhusudana. The Supreme Lord Krishna then replied, O king, I shall indeed tell you about the best of all fasting Ekadasis. Fasting days, the Ekadasi that comes during the dark part of the month of Ashada. Famous as Yogini Ekadasi, it removes all kinds of sinful reactions and awards supreme liberation. O best of the king, this Ekadasi delivers people who are drowning in the vast ocean of material existence and transports them to the shore of the spiritual world. In all the three worlds, it is the chief of all sacred fasting days. I shall now reveal this truth to you by narrating a history recounted in the Purana. The king of Alakapuri, Kuvera, the treasurer of the Devas, was a steadfast devotee of Lord Shiva. He employed a servant named Hemamali as his personal gardener. Hemamali, a yaksha like Kuvera, was very lustfully attracted to his gorgeous wife, Swarupavati, who had large enchanting eyes. Hemamali's daily duty was to visit Mansarovara lake and bring back flowers for his master Kuvera, with which he would use them in the puja offering to Lord Shiva. One day, after picking the flowers, Hemamali went to his wife instead of returning directly to his master and fulfilling his duty by bringing the flowers for the puja. Absorbed in loving affairs of a bodily nature with his wife, he forgot to return to the abode of Kuvera. O king, while Hemamali was enjoying with his wife, Kuvera had begun the worship of Lord Shiva as normal in his palace and soon discovered that there were no flowers ready to be offered in the midday puja. The lack of such an important item angered the great Koshadhyaksha, treasurer of the Devas, even more, and he asked a extra messenger, why was dirty-hearted Hemamali not come with the daily offering of flowers? Go find out the exact reason and report back to me in person with your findings. The Yaksha returned and told Kuvera, O dear Lord, Hemamali has become lost in freely enjoying quietus with his wife. Kuvera became extremely angry when he heard this and at once summoned lowly Hemamali before him. Knowing that he had been remiss and dawdling in his duty and exposed as meditating on his wife's body, Hemamali approached his master in great fear. The gardener the first paid his obeisances and then stood before his lord, whose eyes had become red with anger and whose lips trembled in rage. So enraged Kuvera cried out to Hemamali, O you sinful rascal, O destroyer of religious principles, you are a walking offense to the Devas. I therefore curse you to suffer from white leprosy and to become separated from your beloved wife. Only great suffering is deservedly yours. O lowborn fool, leave this place immediately and betake yourself to the lower planets to suffer. And so Hemamali fell at once from the grace in Alakapuri and became ill with the terrible affliction of white leprosy. He awoke in a dense and fearful forest where there was nothing to eat or drink. Thus he passed his days in misery, unable to sleep at night due to pain. He suffered in both winter and summer season, but because he continued to worship Lord Shiva himself with faith, his consciousness remained purely fixed and steady. Although implicated by great sin and its attendant reactions, he remembered his past life because of his piety. After wandering for some time here and there, over mountains and across plains, Hemamali eventually came upon the vast expanse of the Himalayan mountain ranges. There, he had the wonderful good fortune to come in contact with the great saintly soul Markandeya Rishi, the best of the ascetics, whose duration of life is, it is said, extends to 7 days of Brahma. Markandeya Rishi was seated peacefully at his ashrama, looking as effulgent as second Brahma. Hemamali, feeling very sinful, stood at a distance from the magnificent sage and offered his humble obeisances and choice prayers. Always interested in the welfare of others, Markandeya Rishi saw the leper and called him near. "O you, what sort of sinful deeds have you done to earn this dreadful affliction?" Hearing this, Hemamali painfully and ashamed replied, "Dear sir, I am a Yaksha servant of Lord Kuvera, and my name is Hemamali. It was my daily service to pick the flowers from the Manasa Sarovara lake for my master's worship of Lord Shiva. But one day I was negligent and was late in returning with the offense with the offering because I had become overwhelmed with lusty passion for enjoying bodily pleasures with my wife. When my master discovered why I was late, he cursed me in great anger to be as I am before you. Thus, I am now bereft of my home, wife, and my service. But fortunately, I have come upon you now, and now I hope to receive from you an auspicious benediction. For I know that devotees such as you are as merciful as the Supreme Lord Bhaktavatsala, and always carry the interest of others uppermost in their hearts. That is their nature. O best of sages, please help me. Soft-hearted Markandeya Rishi replied, "Because you have told me the truth, I shall tell you about a fast day that will benefit you greatly. If you fast on the Ekadasi that comes during the dark fortnight of the month of Ashada, you will surely be freed of this terrible curse." Hemamali fell to the ground in complete gratitude and offered him his humble obeisances again and again. But Markandeya Rishi stood there and lifted poor Hemamali to his feet, filling him with inexpressible happiness. Thus, as the sage had instructed him, Hemamali dutifully observed the Ekadasi fast, and by its influence he again became a handsome Yaksha. Then he returned home, where he lived very happily with his wife. Lord Sri Krishna concluded, "So you can readily see, O Yudhishthira, that fasting on Yogini Ekadasi is very powerful and auspicious. Whatever merit one obtained by feeding 88,000 Brahmins is also obtained simply by observing a strict fast on Yogini Ekadasi. For one who fasts on the sacred Ekadasi, she, Ekadasi Devi, destroys heaps of past sinful reactions and makes him most pious. O king, thus I have explained to you the purity of Yogini Ekadasi. Thus, in the narration of the glories of Ashada Krishna Ekadasi or Yogini Ekadasi from the Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Yogini Ekadasi ki jai. That is from the Ekadasi event. So we shall quickly enter into our daily Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Lord Brahma speaking to Narada Muni about the universe and about the 14 planetary systems. So yesterday he started speaking about uh, the 4 planetary systems. भूर्लोकः कल्पितः पद्भ्यां भूर्लोकस्य नाभितः हृदा स्वर्लोक उरसा महर्लोको महात्मनः. He spoke about Bhurlokaha and then Bhurloka, Bhurloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, 4 planetary systems and their positions. Bhurlokaha Kalpitaha Padbhyam, Bhurlokasya Nabitaha, Hruda Swarloka, Urasa, Maharloko, Mahatmanaha. On his chest, there is a Maharloka, on his heart, the Swarloka, and Bhurloka Kalpitha Padbhyam, Bhurlokasya Nabitaha. And Bhurloka is at the situated at the navel. And then Bhurloka is just below it. So likewise, yesterday he spoke about the 4 planets. Now coming to 3 more top upper planetary systems on top of the Maharloka. So he say that where they are situated. They are situated on the 2 breast portions of the Virat Rupa, and on top of his head there is a Brahmaloka or Satyaloka. Likewise, he is saying. So we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, and chapter 5, and verse number 39. ग्रीवायां जनलोकोऽस्य तपोलोकः स्तनद्वयात् मुद्दभिः सत्यलोकस्तु ब्रह्मलोकः सनातनः. ग्रीवायां जनलोको asya. Grivayam, so until the neck portion. Janaloko asya, Janaloka is there. Asya, who is that Asya? Is the Virat Rupa. Virat Rupa in his body up to the neck. Janaloka is there. And Tapolokaha, also Tapoloka is there. The planet of austerities, Tapoloka planetary system. And Sthanadvayat, and beginning from the breast. Beginning from the breast until the neck portion, Janaloka and Tapoloka, they exist there. Mudnapihi Satyalokastu, Muddabihi. So Muddabihi is the by the head. There is a Satyalokastu. Satyaloka is the Brahmaloka. So the Satyaloka or Brahmaloka, they are called the same. Muddabihi Satyalokastu, Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. And Brahmaloka, the spiritual planets, they are the eternal planets. So they are also called Brahmalokas. So, but they are, because to distinguish from the Satyaloka, the Sanatana eternal is used here. Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. These are the Vaikuntha planets, are the spiritual planets. So they are above the, beyond this universe. Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. So Grivayam Janaloko Asya Tapolokaha Stanadvaya Muddabihi Satyalokastu Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. So translation for this verse. From the forefront of the chest up to the neck of the universal form of the Lord are situated the planetary systems named Janaloka and Tapoloka, whereas Satyaloka, the topmost planetary system, is situated on the head of the form. The spiritual planets, however, are eternal. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Can you request Jakhno Kanya Mataji to read this purport, please? Or Malati Mataji, if available.
Hare Krishna, Bro. Many times in this phase, we have discussed the spiritual planets situated beyond the material sky, and the description is elaborated in this verse. The word Sanatana is significant. This very idea of eternity is expressed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.20, where it is said that beyond the material creation is the spiritual sky, where everything is internal. Sometimes Satyaloka, the planet in which Brahma resides, is also called the Brahmaloka. But the Brahmaloka mentioned here is not the same as the Satyaloka planetary system. This Brahmaloka is internal, whereas the Satyaloka planetary system is not internal. And to distinguish between the two, the adjective Sanatana has been used in this case. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, this Brahmaloka is the Loka or a abode of Brahmana or the Supreme Lord. In the spiritual sky, all the planets are as good as the Lord Himself. The Lord is all spirit, and His name, fame, glories, qualities, pastimes, etc. are all the non different from His because He is absolute. As such, the planet is in the kingdom of God are also non different from Him. In those planets, there is no difference between the body and the soul, nor is there any influence of time as well as experience it in the material world. And in addition to there begin to no influence of time, the planets in the Brahmaloka, due to being spiritual, are never annihilated. All varieties get net Gittedness in the spiritual planet is also on with the Lord, and therefore the Vedic aphorism Ekam Ivad Vidyam is fully realized in the Sanatana atmosphere of spiritual variegatedness. This material world is only a shadow, phantasmagoria of the spiritual kingdom of the Lord, and because it is shadowed, it is never internal. The variegatedness is the in the material world of duality, spirit and matters cannot be compared to that of the spiritual world because of a mm, because of a poor fond of knowledge, less intelligent person sometimes mistake the condition of the shadowed world to be equivalent to those of the spiritual world, and thus they mistake the Lord and His pastime in the material world to be on one with the continual soul and their activities. The Lord condemns such less intelligent person in the Bhagavad Gita 9.11. Hare Krishna Babu.
Continue, Mataji, please. अवजानन्ति मां मूढः मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावमजानन्तु मम भूता महेश्वरम्. Continue, Mataji, this paragraph.
Whenever the Lord incarnates, He does so is full internal potency, Atma Maya, and less intelligent person mistake him to be one of the material creations. Sri Dhara Swami, therefore, rightly committing on this verse, says that the Brahmaloka mentioned here is the Vaikuntha, the kingdom of God, which is Sanatana or internal, and is therefore not exactly like the material creation described above. The Virat universe form of the Lord is an imagination for the material world. It has nothing to do with the spiritual world or the kingdom of the God.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Mataji. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is explaining about the spiritual sky and also comparison between the Satyaloka and the Sanatana Loka. Sanatana, all the Vaikuntha planets. So bringing from Bhagavad Gita statements, Krishna's Parastasmastu bhavonyo avyaktaha avyaktat sanatanaha. Avyaktaha avyaktat sanatanaha. Yasu sarveshu bhuteshu nasyatsu na vinasyati. Even though this material world completely up to Satyaloka, everything is destroyed. But which is beyond this Satyaloka, all the Sanatana planets, the spiritual planets, they will stay as they are. They are the Sanatana. They are Avyaktaha, Avyakto, Sanatanaha. Nasyapsu na vinasyati, they will never ever get destroyed. Avyakto kshiriti yukta stamahuhu paramam gatim yam prapya ninavatante tadhama paramam mama. न तद्भासेते सूर्यो न शशंको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. So Krishna is again and again saying, my planets are eternal. Whoever comes there, they do not come back to this material world. So here in our day-to-day life, we are always trying to progress day by day. So we wanted to improve our condition. We do not go back to the past days of life. So we might be poverty stricken in the olden days, at least. We are trying to working hard to accumulate something and wealth to maintain our living being, and we don't go back to the miseries again. So it is always improving. It is gradual elevation. Once similarly, one who goes upper planets, they do not come back to again lower planetary systems. So likewise, one who goes to the Vaikuntha planet, he doesn't like to come back here again. So that is um, that is Tadhama Paramamama. So such a planet is Vaikuntha or Sanatana. So that is Prabhupada explaining here. So it is called Brahmaloka. Um, sorry, Brahmaloka mentioned here is not the same as Satyaloka planet system. The Brahmaloka is eternal. These are all Sanatana planets, eternal planets. In this context, Brahma is used. Uh, they are Vaikuntha planets. And all Vaikuntha planets, Vaikuntha Leela Abhijhanam Samadhanam Tadatmanaha. So whoever is remembering those Vaikuntha planets, there his Lord's form, qualities, name, and everything, glories, everything are eternal. His abode. So he is always called Vaikuntha, Vaikunthanadha. So are all non-different from him because he is absolute. And further Prabhupada says, kingdom of God are not different from him. In those planets, there is no difference between the body and the soul because there is no time influence. Um, so nor is there any influence of time as we experience in this material world. And in addition to there being no influence of time, the planets in the Brahmaloka due to being spiritual or never annihilated. So because there is no time factor, so there is no thinking of the decaying of body like us. So there is no time influence, and everything is in the variegate. All the time, all the trees and flowers, they blossom the flowers, blossom the having lots of fruits there. Yatra naishreshim nama vanam kamudugaihi dhumaihi sarvattu sribihi vibhrajat kaivalyamiva murtimat. Every time, all there are so many things. Kaivalyamiva murtimat. Variegatedness, birds are there, bees are there, and then so many flowers, trees, and people are there, so many women are there, aeroplanes. It is all variegatedness in the spiritual planets. This is what we have been discussing in the Saturday's Vaikuntha descriptions. And therefore, Vedic aphorism Ekam Ekam Eva Advitiyam is fully realized in that Sanatana atmosphere of the spiritual variegatedness. Whatever we are experiencing here it has got time influence and three material modes of nature. But in the Vaikuntha, there is no three modes of material nature and no time influence. Everything is eternal. Everyone are in youthful bodies. So this is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Udbhalokam adashakam ashwadham prahuravyayam chandams yasya parnani yastam veda tavedhavet. Udbhamolam adashakam. So this the root of this material world, it is in the spiritual world. We cannot find here in this material world anywhere. So that is Prabhupada is explaining all variegatedness is in the spiritual world. Whatever we see here, it is the shadow, phantasmagoria. Just like when we stand in the sunlight, we see the shadow. It goes along with us, but it is not us. So but we belong to the spiritual world, but this material world is a shadow. Okay, so that is Prabhupada is explaining here. And the variegatedness in this material world of duality is cannot be compared to that of spiritual world because of four funda of knowledge or less intelligent. And whenever, so this is about the foolish people who cannot understand the Lord and they mistake about the Lord. So Krishna says, avajananti mamuhda manushim tanumashritam param bhavamajananto mama bhota maheshwaram. They think that manushim tanumashrim. So Krishna is also like ordinarily like us. Likewise, they avajananti mamuhda, because these fools and rascals, they think like that. And they do not understand param bhavam. Krishna is eternal, param bhavam, the supreme Lord. Ajananto, they do not understand like that. Mama bhota maheshwaram, I am the Lord of all the living entities. They do not understand that truth. So that's why Prabhupada here says, and Krishna says that one, I sambhavami atma maya. So Prabhupada is saying that one. And less intelligent people, and they cannot understand. They are, because of Lord's covering, Naham Prakasha Sarva, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritaha. So he is covered by his Yogamaya to the unintelligent people. Okay, so likewise, Prabhupada is concluding that Sridhar Swami's statement that this Brahmaloka, it is mentioned here, is the Vaikuntha, kingdom of God, or Sanatana, and is therefore not exactly like the material creations described above. And here, Virat Rupa, or universal form of the Lord, is an imagination for the material world. But actually, it is nothing to do with the spiritual world or the kingdom of God. So this Virat Rupa is the imaginary form for the people of the material world and the planetary systems. So up to here, there are bottom planetary systems. So bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are the bottom planetary systems. This is Atala, Vitala, Sutala. This is Sutala Loka where Bali Chakravarti is there. And from here, west, so Earth, Bhurloka, Bhurloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, and Janoloka, Tapoloka, and then on the top here, Mudna, this is the head, here is the Brahmaloka is there, this is the Virat Rupa form, and his eyes are having the sun and moon here, and there are from his mouth the fire, and so many things are manifested from his bodily parts. This is the universal form of the Lord, and he is inside the universe, but beyond the universe, that is Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. They are the spiritual planets that Lord Brahma is saying to Narada Muni. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Grevayam janaloko asya tapolokah sanadvayat muddapihi satyalokastu brahmalokaha sanatanaha. Okay, that is in Bhagavatam. We shall quickly move to Srila Prabhupada's daily letter.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, is just a quick question.
Yes.
In Bhagavad Gita already mentioned, Lord Krishna mentioned, Abrahma Bhumanaloka Punar Avittana Arjuna. Yeah, Mama Pitta Takanteya Punarjanma na Vidyate. So here is mentioning as a, from Abrahma Bhuvanaloka, from until the Brahmaloka, there is a repeated birth and death. But here it is mentioned about spiritual planet Brahmaloka. So is this same Brahmaloka or different Brahmaloka?
This is the Sanatana. This is spiritual. Brahmaloka is the spiritual planet. This is Vaikuntha. So here, Muddabi Satyalokastu. This is Satyaloka. This is actually Brahma planet, and Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. This Brahmalokaha it is the eternal Vaikuntha planets. This is Sridhar Swami and Jiva Goswami are explaining here.
Is it Brahman impersonal one was a liberation from Brahman? Is it eternal that Brahman? And because it's confusing about here. About Bhagavad Gita is mentioning Brahma Bhumanaloka. So is that Brahmaloka and here Brahmaloka
They're
and
different.
impersonal Brahmaloka. Can you give the explanation, little explanation, please?
Um, so here, this Brahmaloka mentioned by Brahma to Narada Muni here in this context is eternal, whereas the Satyaloka planetary system is not eternal. And to distinguish between the two, adjective Sanatana has been used in this case. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, this Brahma Loka is the Loka or abode of Brahman. This is the Brahman or Supreme Lord. So here, because the Sanatan is used and Satyaloka, Modnabihi Satyalokastu, this is the Brahma's planet, Lord Brahma planet. And Brahmalokaha Sanatanaha. Sanatana is used to distinguish the Vaikuntha planet. This is Vaikuntha planets are Brahman. So this is what Jiva Goswami explained. Prabhupada is explaining here in this purport.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhupada. Okay, so shall we read from Prabhupada's diary? So today's letter to Shyam Sundara, March 8, 1970, Los Angeles. Can I request Jahna Kanya Mataji to read this letter? If available. Jahna Kanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. My dear Shamasundar, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 3rd March 1970, along with the Govardhan record. Govinda record. The record is so nice that I'm playing it at least once in a day, and it is giving me transcendental pleasure with tears in my eyes. I am sure this record will be the first class hit, as already opened by the experts. Opined. I've not seen that word before. Certainly, this has come out so successful because of George's sincere effort in Krishna consciousness. I am so pleased that he is advancing towards perfectional state of Krishna consciousness, and your association will greatly help. Try to convince him to avoid the 4 principles of sinful life and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra as much as possible. Then he will find everything is successful in his life. I think on account of the record, many people, at least from different parts of Europe, will come to see our temple. Many tourists also may come there. So you do not take it as gloomy, but you should welcome them in our temple. Regularly try to sell out books and magazines to them. So far, taking away the shoes is concerned, you can make the following arrangements. Just after the entrance door, arrange for a movable railing so that anyone willing to enter the temple room but who does not like take his shoes may be allowed to enter the door by stand near the railing and see the deity from the place. Anyone willing to go inside the railing boundary must have to get out his shoes, and exactly by the side of the altar another railing may be fixed up. This railing should stand between the Vyasasan and the altar. So anyone who may come must be well received, informed about our activities, and when we publish the little pamphlet which is in preparation, it may be distributed to each and every one of the visitors. I have not heard anything from you about the small leaflet to be prepared for putting along with the Govindam records. Are you preparing are you preparing it or not? Or do you think it is necessary or not? The next song you may record is Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Keshavaditra Dasabeda Rupa. Keshavadita Dasabeda Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hari. And we shall make a child children's box and 10 picture of Krishna different appearances, Dashavarata, and a short story or explanation for each. Now we have just received part of the manuscript of an abridged version of Krishna, especially meant for children. Hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever well wisher Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. What happened to the Manjiro imported from the India through Lloyd's Bank? Ask Mukunda to write me about this as soon as possible. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
I think this is Manjiras. Manjiras are the instruments.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Any takeaway points, Mataji, from this letter?
It's actually addressing the recording process from George, the Beatles, George Harrison. I'm sorry, my throat is not allowing me to continue. Sorry. Can somebody else do, please?
Thank you, Mataji. Any devotees from this letter? Any takeaway points you wanted to add?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
This and also this is a normal etiquette in the temple. We have to follow the regulation not to take shoe. This is the inauspicious. We have to take out the shoe. But give regulation for this thing. And at the end, he mentioned about Lord, his 10 avatara as Jai Jagadisha. Different form, different is very nice to hear about this Dashavatara. This is also very, very wonderfully. It was done by also Kripamai Prabhu and his daughters, Janavi and Tulasi. Both they did very nicely with the dance and very nicely. Is wonderfully. I can give the link also if you need. So it's very wonderful. And we have to know that Lord has 10 avatara. So this is the interesting thing. So, sorry.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for kindly adding. Any other points, dear devotees, you wanted to add anything else? Okay, so that is from Prabhupada's letter. So, and that is Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that every day we hear in the temples. So during Mangalarati time, it is so beautiful. Prabhupada is appreciating that one. And similarly in that mood, so also create one more record with the Keshavadvaita Dasabida Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hari, that song as well. And also Prabhupada suggesting to have the avatars in a children's book, having nice pictures so that children will be absorbed, kind of a abridged version of Krishna, especially with small stories for children. Yeah, and also here when we are seeing the deities in the temple, we have to keep our shoes outside. So that is the custom, and Prabhupada is giving some indication uh, how to follow if so many European visitors are coming to see the temple by hearing the Govindam record and this on account of this record and giving suggestions. But especially when we go to the temple, we need to keep ourselves clean, washing the legs. And actually, if we see the temples, when we are entering the temple, first we have to wash our legs and sprinkle water on top of our head, invoking the Gange cha Yamuna chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sanidam Kuru. By with that mantras, the 7 rivers, sacred rivers, will be invoking on top of our head. We are sanctified. On the bottom, we also wash our legs and then we enter into the temple. That is the custom. So that that is followed everywhere in the, don't know about many places, but sometimes simply because wearing the socks, that is also not the custom, but based on time and place and circumstances, some people follow that one as an exception. But we have to wash the legs in the true sense. Okay, so that is from this Prabhupada's letter and takeaway. And from the announcements point of view, so today evening we have got preaching practice session with Jafna Kanya Mataji at 8 p.m. That is our upcoming event. And dear devotees, if you have got any other updates or you wanted to share anything on Krishna consciousness, kindly share. Hare Krishna. Okay, if there are no updates, then we shall conclude and continue with further japa. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो नमो अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय।
जय श्री
Prabhupada.
प्रभुपाद की जय।
Hare Krishna.
जय
Continue.